Utah is hiding 8 insanely expensive billionaire enclaves nobody talks about, and we're counting down all of them. You're about to see a private mountain where a Netflix billionaire is building an actual art museum into the ski slopes. A mansion so insane HBO turned it into a movie. And a canyon where one billionaire literally rewrote state law to build his dream house. Welcome to Utah's shadow economy. Number 8. St. George and the Red Rock Desert Luxury Belt. Let's kick things off somewhere most people don't see coming. Because when you say Utah billionaires, most folks picture mountain peaks, ski chalets, powder snow. And yeah, we're getting there. But the story actually starts in the desert. St. George, southern Utah, Red Rock Canyon walls, year-round sunshine, and a real estate market that's been quietly going absolutely ballistic. See, while the Wasatch Range has been making headlines, the ultra-wealthy have been sneaking into the desert and building mega mansions on PGA-caliber golf courses down south. And the thing is, it makes total sense when you think about it. No brutal winters. No fighting for ski lift access. Private jet in, private jet out. St. George has its own private airport, which basically means UHNW buyers that's ultra-high net worth, in case you're wondering, can bypass every commercial airport headache entirely. The architecture down here is genuinely wild. We're talking floating staircases with LED lighting built right into the steps. Motorized sliding glass walls that dissolve the boundary between your living room and the desert. Heated ceilings on the patio so you're warm even when the desert cools down at night. And here's a fun little detail that the truly wealthy insist on: hidden secondary kitchens. They call them sculleries. The idea is that all the cooking mess stays tucked away and your main kitchen stays pristine and magazine-ready at all times. Because when you're hosting at this level, optics matter. The market entry point here is around $1.2 million, which sounds steep until you realize that up in Park City, that barely covers a parking space. Up north, we're talking $10 million plus for comparable square footage. And this desert belt actually stretches all the way into Springdale. That's the gateway town right outside Zion National Park, where the median home sale price has now crossed $1.24 million. That's the median, for a town most people associate with hiking boots and granola bars. So yeah, don't sleep in the desert. But speaking of sleeping and never actually doing it in a $40 million house, let's head to the north where you'll find our next secret location. Number 7. Alpine and Highland, Silicon Slopes Northern Bench. Okay, pop quiz. You've built a billion-dollar software company. You're in your late 30s, you've got a family, and you want to live somewhere that feels like a real community, not just a resort town full of strangers. Where do you go? If you're a Utah tech billionaire, the answer is almost always Alpine. Tucked right at the base of the Wasatch Range at over 5,000 feet elevation, Alpine is quiet, private, physically stunning, and completely surrounded by mountains on 3 sides, which means they simply cannot build more of it. No new supply. Which is exactly how you like it when you're trying to preserve your investment. The locals call it the Federal Heights of Utah Valley, which is a reference to one of Salt Lake City's most historic and prestigious neighborhoods. That tells you everything about the kind of crowd Alpine attracts. Ryan Smith, billionaire founder of Qualtrics, current owner of the Utah Jazz, lives here. Forbes came to Alpine to do their profile shoot on him. That's the kind of visibility this community has in business circles. Then there's Josh James, the founder of Omniture and Domo, who built what might be the most outrageous custom home in the entire state right here in Alpine. Tennis court? Yes. Private theater? Obviously. A fully custom, architecturally designed, subterranean Hobbit hole replica? Also yes. A real one, underground. The man built himself a Hobbit hole, and honestly, respect. Entry-level custom estates in Alpine start around $1.5 million. The premium gated mountain properties regularly trade between $5 and $10 million. And all of this is fueled by one of the most explosive technology corridors in America, Silicon Slopes, which sits just 20 minutes south in Lehi. Companies like Adobe, Qualtrics, Domo, and dozens of others have major operations there, and their executives need somewhere to live that matches the level they've achieved. Right next door is Highland, Utah, which ranks among the wealthiest cities in the entire state by median household income. A little more space, a little more agricultural style, excellent schools, The kind of place where executives are raising families while running companies from their home offices overlooking the mountains. But if Alpine is where the Silicon Slopes money settles down to raise kids, the next place on our list is where the creative class goes to get weird in the best possible way. And a certain Netflix legend just dropped $100 million to make it happen. Speaking of quietly putting your money exactly where it counts, that is what pulled someone on our team to the Pulse R8 smart ring. It tracks your heart rate, your sleep, and your workouts straight from your finger. A week on a single charge, 100 days with the case, and it's fully waterproof. The part that got us was the price. Under $40, a fraction of what the big-name rings cost, because it comes direct instead of through the retailers that mark everything up. If you're watching on your TV, pause and scan the QR code on screen with your phone camera, or tap the first link in the description. Now, back to the Netflix legend who spent 9 figures transforming a whole ski town. Number 6. Powder Haven/Powder Mountain, Eden, Utah. Right, so you know how sometimes a very rich person buys something and just completely reinvents it? That's exactly what happened here. Powder Mountain, up in Eden, Utah, has always been celebrated for one thing. It's the largest ski resort in the United States by skiable acreage, 12,000 acres. Historically pretty under the radar, beloved by locals, and not especially well known on the international circuit. Then in 2023, Reed Hastings, co-founder and former CEO of Netflix, acquired majority control through a $100 million capital injection, and everything changed. Here's where it gets fascinating. Hastings didn't just buy a ski resort, he carved it up. He took 2,700 acres of premium terrain and turned it into an exclusive, private, gated community called Powder Haven. If you want access to those private slopes, you have to buy in, either a bare building lot starting at $2 million or a completed townhouse for $3 million and up. And that's before the mandatory club joining fee of around $200,000, plus annual dues that can run anywhere from $30,000 to $100,000 a year. It's a full commitment. Now, you might think, okay, some billionaire is just privatizing a ski mountain, classic rich people stuff. But here's the twist. Hastings actually has a vision that goes way beyond skiing. He's building what he calls the Powder Art Foundation, a nonprofit that commissions massive, site-specific land art and sculptures installed right on the ski trails. He's turning the mountain into an open-air museum. You're skiing past monumental artwork. That's genuinely next-level thinking. And the crowning jewel, a 73,000-square-foot members-only Arc Lodge clubhouse, scheduled to open in 2028. Heated outdoor pools, luxury spa, 5-star dining, indoor climbing walls, state-of-the-art ski lockers, the whole package. The crowd that Hastings is attracting is different from your typical ski resort billionaire demographic. Artists, innovators, architects, creative thinkers, even astronauts, reportedly. It's got a very specific energy. A little Burning Man, a little Aspen, a little Silicon Valley, and 12,000 acres of some of the most untouched terrain in America to explore. But while Powder Mountain is where visionaries go to play, our next entry is where generational Utah wealth has quietly sat for decades, and where a billionaire's son recently made a decision that set the whole city talking. Number 5. Walker Lane and the Salt Lake East Bench, Holiday. Every great city has its secret corridor, the block that old money families have held for generations. The street where the gates stay closed, where the trees are 100 years old, where the driveways are long enough that you can't see the house from the road. In Salt Lake City, that place is Walker Lane. It's a 1-mile private corridor in Holiday, on the high east bench of the valley. Heavily forested, ornamental iron gates, big Cottonwood Creek running through it, and estate lots that very rarely come to market. The history here goes all the way back to the Walker brothers, who built Utah's early banking and mining empire in the 1800s. Matthew Walker put his summer retreat, Glenwood, on a 10-acre parcel here in 1895. When a neighborhood has that kind of provenance, it doesn't need to advertise itself. Properties on Walker Lane trade between $4 million and well north of $15 million, and half the time the sale never even hits the public market. Now, the most recognizable name currently associated with this lane is Gail Miller, Utah's most prominent female billionaire, worth somewhere in the range of $1 to $2 billion and the matriarch of the Larry H. Miller Company empire. Be it cars, sports, retail, or real estate, the Miller family has been the backbone of Utah commerce for decades. And right here, on Walker Lane, the family has built a sprawling residential compound, urban sanctuary, historic water rights, direct views of Mount Olympus, generational wealth, physically expressed in stone and landscape. But Walker Lane hasn't been entirely quiet lately. Not far from the Miller compound, the historic Glenwood estate, the one built in 1895, was demolished by the son of a local billionaire, which, as you can imagine, caused a genuine uproar in a community that takes preservation seriously. The property was eventually cleared and turned into an artisanal flower farm run by a non-profit. So there's a kind of poetic twist to it. A billionaire tears something down, and flowers come up in its place. The East Bench extends beyond Walker Lane into neighborhoods like Federal Heights, Yalecrest, locally known as Harvard Yale, because yes, that's very much a thing, and Arcadia Heights, all of which register among the highest median household incomes in the Salt Lake urban core. It's old money, layered onto older money, in a city that's growing fast but knows how to keep certain things quietly out of sight. But speaking of things that are technically public but feel deeply, deliberately private, let's talk about what happens when a billionaire decides Utah's biggest ski resort just isn't exclusive enough. Number 4. Marcella Club and Jordanelle Ridge, Deer Valley East Village. Okay, so imagine you're building the first brand-new, master-planned alpine resort village in North America since 1981. Multi-billion-dollar build-out. 4 seasons, Grand Hyatt, Tiger Woods designing the golf course, the 2034 Winter Olympics on the horizon. That's exactly what's happening right now at Deer Valley East Village, and Marcella Club is the residential heart of it. Let's start with Tiger, because how could you not? Marcella has secured an 18-hole championship golf course designed by Tiger Woods' own firm, TGR Design, his first ever mountain golf course. The Skyline course soft opens in summer 2026. We're talking an 8,000-yard layout, 700-yard par 5, a 300-yard par 3, and panoramic views of the Uinta Mountains and Jordanelle Reservoir. Oh, and a second members-only course called Ambush, designed by King Collins Dormer, running along a protected ridgeline. Just in case one world-class golf course isn't enough. In winter, residents have ski and ski-out access to Deer Valley Resort's newly expanded 3,700 acres of skiable terrain through the Marcella Mountain Lodge, designed by the legendary architecture firm Olson Kundig, whose aesthetic sits somewhere between industrial poetry and mountain modernism. The real estate here comes in a few different flavors. Custom home sites range from a quarter acre to 8 acres, with architectural footprints allowed up to 20,000 square feet. Then there are the Marcella Landing townhomes, 50 units, Olson Kundig designed, starting at $6.9 million and running past $11.5 million. These are the only properties in the development permitted to operate as short-term rentals, which means buyers can actually generate income on their multi-million-dollar ski homes. The pricing sits at $1,300 to $1,600 per square foot. If that sounds like a lot, the Four Seasons private residences nearby are going for $3,300 to $3,900 per square foot. And with the 2034 Olympics incoming and international eyes turning to Deer Valley as a venue, buyers here are buying into what analysts expect to be a serious capital multiplier event. The long-term math is pretty compelling. But now, let's go somewhere that doesn't just give you access to a private golf course. Let's go somewhere you get your own private mountain. Number 3. Wasatch Peaks, Ranch and the Commas, Oakley Wilderness Belt. This one is for the person who looks at a ski resort, even a really excellent private ski resort, and thinks, still too many people. Wasatch Peaks Ranch is located about 35 minutes north of Salt Lake City in Morgan County. And what makes it completely different from everything else on this list is the model. This is not a neighborhood. This is not a development. This is a private club that purchased an entire mountain. In 2019, a consortium of wealthy private investors bought a 20-square-mile, 12,700-acre parcel along the eastern face of the Wasatch Mountains for $39 million. The group included Lessing Stern, son of Edgar Stern, the founder of Deer Valley, and was led by Bob Wheaton, the legendary former general manager who helped build Deer Valley into the premier ski resort it is today. The result is a fully private 3,000-acre ski resort with 15 alpine bowls, a vertical drop of 4,600 feet, and 5 custom high-speed detachable chairlifts, all accessible exclusively by members. No lift lines, no strangers, no public, just you, your family, and whoever you decided to invite. Summer isn't any less impressive. Tom Fazio designed the championship golf course. You've got 2 miles of private Weber River frontage for fly fishing, big game hunting rights for elk and moose, 70 miles of private hiking and mountain biking trails. And here's the kicker. Membership is capped. Hard cap somewhere between 475 and 750 families. That's it. The barrier to entry is a $500,000 initiation fee. Building lots start at $10 million. Annual fees and mandatory equity investments layer on top of that. It is, by design, inaccessible to the point where most billionaires probably have to think twice before applying. Now, just south of WPR, the Camas and Oakley corridors have their own fascinating story. Victory Ranch in Camas is a 6,700-acre private community with its own Reese Jones-designed golf course, private fly fishing on the Upper Provo River, and an invite-only Sundance party circuit. PGA Tour pro Tony Finau is a member. And then there's Riverbend Ranch in Oakley, a 2,000-acre luxury estate along the Weber River. Originally purchased for $32.5 million in 2019, it became the centerpiece of one of the most dramatic fraud prosecutions in recent Utah history. Trevor Milton, founder of Nikola Corporation, allegedly used highly inflated company stock, backed by what prosecutors called outright lies about Nikola's hydrogen fuel technology, to buy the ranch. He was convicted. He got 4 years in federal prison. The estate was forfeited. So yes, sometimes even the private wilderness isn't enough to keep the drama out. But if Wasatch Peaks Ranch is the definition of complete mountain privatization, our next entry is where you get not just a mountain, but a 7-story mansion that HBO turned into a movie. Number 2. Deer Crest and Bald Eagle Club, Deer Valley. Welcome to Deer Crest, where the houses are vertical, the views are extraordinary, and your private ski access involves a gondola that runs from the public slopes directly to your front door. That's not a metaphor. Deer Crest properties, which are perched on dramatic, steep mountainsides overlooking Jordanelle Reservoir, are famous for integrating private funiculars into the architecture. Ski in, was sky out. But in the most over-engineered way possible. You don't even have to take your boots off. The gondola gets you there. Property values here run from $15 million on the low end to $65 million at the top. The community is double-gated, deeply private, and carries the full prestige of Deer Valley's ski-only identity. No snowboarders, meticulously groomed runs, and famously attentive service. And residents have dedicated bridge access to the ultra-luxury St. Regis Deer Valley for exclusive club privileges. But the property everyone is talking about right now is Mountain Head, which is also now, literally, a movie. Doug Bergeron, billionaire fintech executive, estimated net worth north of $2 billion. Built this 21,378 square foot, 7-story vertical masterpiece here in Deer Crest. 7 stories, on a steep mountainside, designed by award-winning architect Michael Upwall and built by McNulty Construction. The amenities list reads like someone gave a 12-year-old a blank check and said, "Go wild." NBA regulation indoor basketball court, 2-lane bowling alley, indoor climbing wall, Dolby Atmos home theater, and the showpiece, a $1.6 million central floating staircase that anchors all 7 floors. $1.6 million for a staircase. And then Jesse Armstrong, creator of Succession, which you've definitely watched, came and made an HBO film here called Mountain Head, a satirical drama about obscene tech wealth starring Steve Carell, filmed right in this actual house. Since then, the property has been available for nightly rentals at approximately $57,000 to $60,000 per night, and people are booking it. Adjacent to Deer Crest is the Bald Eagle Club, another ultra-exclusive gated community in Deer Valley, known for its strict architectural standards, premium slope-side locations, and the complete absence of any reason for you to interact with the outside world. It's a remarkable enclave, but we've saved the best for last. Because the #1 spot on our list is where Utah's highest ever real estate transaction happened. where a billionaire bought a $40 million mansion, never once slept there, and then tried to flip it for $50 million. And where another billionaire rewrote state law just to get his dream house approved. Number 1. The Colony at White Pine Canyon, Park City. This is it. Ground zero for Utah's most concentrated, most dramatic, most genuinely extraordinary billionaire real estate. The Colony at White Pine Canyon sits inside the canyon's village side of Park City Mountain Resort, the largest lift-connected ski resort in the United States. And the community was designed, from the beginning, to be the antithesis of everything a typical ski resort looks like. No dense slopeside towers, no hotel-style condos, no crowds. Instead, 4,600 acres of forested mountain terrain, with only 10% of it developed. The rest 90% is permanently conserved. No roads, no buildings, just old-growth aspen and evergreen trees acting as a permanent buffer between each estate. Minimum lot size is 4 acres. Some go past 100. What that means in practice is that you can't see your neighbor. You might not even know what direction your neighbor's house faces. That level of spatial isolation in a ski-in, ski-out community is essentially unmatched anywhere in North America. Property values here are some of the highest on the continent. Estate-tier homes run from $10 million to $50 million plus. Undeveloped home sites go for $5 million to $9 million. And the home amenities. Let's just say these aren't weekend cabins. We're talking indoor basketball courts, professional bowling alleys, golf simulators, lap pools with heated outdoor decks. And, this one is genuinely something, medical-grade wellness wings, circadian rhythm lighting systems, advanced air filtration, whole-home water purification. These homes are built to the spec of a high-end private health retreat, not a vacation house. Now, the defining moment that put the Colony on the global map happened in May 2022. Russell Weiner, a billionaire founder of Rockstar Energy, estimated net worth around $4 billion, who purchased a 17,567 square foot estate called Monitor's Rest for $39.6 million. That's the highest residential sale ever recorded in Utah history. And then, this is the part that's almost too good, he listed it for $50 million without ever spending a single night there. The property at 253 White Pine Canyon Road is now asking $55 million. The one at 254 is listed at $50 million. 23,000 square feet, 13 bedrooms, 18 bathrooms, a slopeside ski locker room, bowling alley, 4 fire pits, and a large private pond. These numbers are not typos. But the Colony's most compelling subplot isn't about Russell Weiner. It's about Matthew Prince, co-founder and CEO of Cloudflare, owner of the Park City newspaper, and a man with an estimated net worth of approximately $5.8 billion. Prince wanted to build an 11,300 square foot modern mansion on Treasure Hill, one of Park City's most protected historic zones. The plans got rejected. Neighbors pushed back hard. Planning commissions denied it. Appeals failed. And then Prince did something that no one in Park City's history had done before. He lobbied the Utah State Legislature and got a law passed, Senate Bill 262, that allowed the Park City Council to bypass the Planning Commission entirely and settle land use disputes directly with property owners. The council voted 3-1 to approve a consent agreement with Prince's holding company, Pesky Porcupine LLC. 3 pending court cases dismissed. Community members called it out immediately. Influence can override process. And maybe they're right. But the house is getting built. The Colony at White Pine Canyon is where Utah's billionaire real estate story reaches its peak, literally and figuratively. Record prices, record egos, record-breaking legal maneuvers, and 4,600 acres of some of the most protected, pristine, privately held mountain terrain in the country. And the 2034 Winter Olympics are coming to Utah, which means all of this, Deer Valley, Park City, the Colony, is about to have an international spotlight on it like never before. Pre-sales at nearby developments are already hitting $3,900 per square foot. The smart money has been parked here for years. So next time someone asks you where Utah's billionaires actually live, now you know. And it's a much wilder story than anyone expected. If you made it this far, drop a comment. Which one of these would you pick if money was no object? And if you want more content like this, do subscribe to Global Status. Catch you in the next one.